Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm finding out how many rooks I need to beat Martin. So far I've defeated Martin with one queen and the logical progression is now rooks. I'll add one rook each game and with any luck I'll win with only one. Let's get started with rook to c1. You might wonder what the strategy here is, and what I've learned from last time is that I need to anticipate blunders. Martin has to make a certain number of mistakes because of his rating level, so I can make that easier for him by putting my rook in a position where I can anticipate a blunder. In this case, for example, c5 would give me a free rook. That would be a blunder. So I'll go ahead and centralize my rook on c4. We get knight to c6. Both of these moves could be blunders, but I can catch one more with knight to e5. So I'll go ahead and move my rook to e4. Okay, we get pawn to a5. It's a little scary because the truth is, if he just pushes his pawn, I mean, it's not like I can really stop him. I can stick my king in front of it, but then another pawn can make its way down on the other side of the board. So it's obviously winning for Martin. I'll go ahead and make a waiting move with my king for now. Okay, we get pawn to d6, and I'll make another waiting move because it doesn't seem like my rook could be any more optimally placed. I guess neither of these two moves are blunders anymore. Just knight to d4 is a blunder. Bishop g4 is a blunder. Bishop f5 could be a blunder if I had my rook on f4, so I'll go ahead and play that. Rook to f4. Okay, we get knight to h6, which undoes that work entirely because now we have two pieces on each of these squares, so neither of those are blunders anymore. But it's unclear how I'm supposed to set it up anymore. I guess I could play rook to c4 so that b5 is a blunder. I mean, I'm just I'm picking at nothing here. We'll play rook to c4, I guess. Okay, we get f6, which doesn't fall for any of that. I'll go ahead and just shuffle my king over to the side. Look, it's like we long castled, but not really. Ah, see, there it is. That's exactly what I was talking about. b5, like I said, he's ready 250, so he's programmed to make a certain number of mistakes. So we get b5, and I can go ahead and snatch up this rook on c6. Rook. Sorry, I can use my rook to snatch up the knight on c6. All right, we get bishop to g4. I'm not particularly comfortable with where my rook is right now, so I guess I can just drop my rook back to c3. In fact, I'll drop it all the way back to c2 so that b4 isn't an issue for me either. I'll play rook back to c2. Okay, we get knight to f5. I have to make sure that with this knight creeping closer, I don't get forked by accident, and with this bishop hanging around, I don't get pinned or skewered accidentally. I'll go ahead and play rook to g2, threaten this bishop, and maybe we can pick it up for free. Rook to g2. We can, but the pawns march forward, which is quite intimidating because if he just keeps marching forward, even accidentally, at some point he might get a promotion. I'll pick up this bishop in the meantime. Okay, pawn to g5, he's throwing pawns in our face. And I'll play rook to b4 to see if we can pick up that b5 pawn, maybe the knight next. So rook to b4, nice, rook to c8 does nothing about that, so I'll pick up my free pawn. Bishop g7 does not handle the knight, so I'll pick up my knight as well. And c5 is actually quite annoying because it blocks off a decent amount of scope for our rook. So I guess I can just retreat the rook to f3 and maybe reroute it to a3 and pick up this pawn. I mean, it's of most concern to me because it's the most advanced pawn, and the last thing that I need is a second queen on the board. But then again, my king is right here and could catch it at any moment. So I wonder if my rook has any better purpose. The issue is when rooks have to play against these kind of triangular pawn structures, if you think about it, e7 is really the only pawn that's worth anything to me because it's unprotected completely. But the e7 pawn is defended by the queen and the king, so it's really unlikely that Martin will let both of those go at the same time. I'll play rook to I'll play rook to f3 in the meantime, so I can catch this pawn in case it does shuffle forward, and it gives my rook a little bit more mobility than it has at the moment. So I'll play rook to f3. We do get f5, excellent. He breaks this pawn structure with that f5 move. I can go ahead and pick up the pawn. e6, nice, it's slowly falling apart. I can't take advantage of it right now because this pawn is defended by the queen, but I can move the rook back to f3, again, pretty well placed to catch this pawn and to have a little bit more scope on the board. So I'll play rook back to f3. Bishop d4 is unfortunately actually a really solid move. It centralizes the bishop, cements it with the c5 pawn. Bishops and pawns always work really well together. The pawn defends the bishop defends the pawn. What's that called? Symbiosis? They work together and exist together. So I can't really do anything to tear this apart unless he does it basically by himself. Instead, I'll move my rook to a3 and see if I can pick up this pawn on a4. Okay, Martin, for the first time in history, I think, castles, which is absolutely crazy, but there you have it. He castles, and I'll go ahead and pick up this pawn on a4. Okay, queen to b6. He's closing in on me now. And I have to be careful because my understanding so far is that Martin is programmed to see checkmate in 2. So if something like queen b2, king d1, rook to f1 is checkmate. So I'm going to play rook back to a2 to at least cover this square. Okay, bishop to e3. King to c2 is the only move that works here. King to d1 just walks into check and then I lose the rook. But king to c2 also walks into rook to f2. Ugh, horrible situation. King to d3. And it doesn't even matter if I win this bishop in exchange because once this rook is off the board, it's impossible for me to create checkmate. I'll play king to c2. Ah, very nice. We get king to f7. And I guess now that I think about it, both of these pieces should probably be somewhat active. The king less so, because obviously it can get checkmated, but both of them should probably play a role of some kind. I'm tempted here to play rook to b2, because there's a chance that Martin will move the queen out of the way, but there's also a chance that he'll just leave it there for me to capture. My only issue is if rook to b2 takes, the challenge is over. And I'm not looking for the challenge to be over, so I'll play rook to a3 instead and threaten a piece that's actually completely free. So I'll play rook to a3, king moves back, and I'll at least get this bishop off my shoulders. Okay, rook to f2 is check. I have to tread carefully now. King to c1 leaves only rook to f1 check, and then I just move back to c2, but the queen can't actually penetrate because of the rook and the king covering all of those squares. King to c3 doesn't really work because of queen to b4, and king d3 and then mate. And like we said, Martin can see mate in 2, so this would end the game probably instantaneously. And then same issue with king d3. We have queen to b3 check, probably with mate shortly after. So, and not even to mention king d1, which is just ladder's mate. And that's my thing. I can't let Martin do that. So I'll play king to c1 right now. Okay, Martin pushes forth with g4. This pawn might actually see the light of day on the other side. I can't make a waiting move with my king. d1 is the only square, and then I get mated. So I guess I should just pick up this pawn on e6. Not like I have many more appealing options. I just realized queen to b2, queen d2 is mate. And I have no idea why he didn't play it. My only way to stop that is rook to b3. But I assume Martin would just take a free piece, and then check and then mate. Okay, so maybe he's not programmed to see mate in 2. Maybe he only sees mate in 2 in certain situations. I don't know, but I don't really have too many good options, so I'll take this pawn. Oh, we do get checked. Only one legal move, and mate. All right, we couldn't beat him with one rook. Let's move on to 2. All right, we're back with 2 rooks, which is extra good because we actually fared quite well with only one rook by just trying to anticipate his errors. With 2 rooks, they can work together and form batteries. We might even get ladder's mate, which would be absolutely spectacular. All right, so this can never be a blunder, so this rook is already not doing anything. f5 can be a blunder, so this rook is just fine. I'll go ahead and move my rook over to c1, just like last time. All right, we get a6 again. We have an idea of how this is going to go, so I'll go ahead and maybe I should even move my rook to c5, because only e6 works as a discovered attack. e5 doesn't work because it drops the pawn with check. So I'll play rook to c5. Nice, and then I can catch any pawns that move onto that 5th rank. So I'll take with check. Bishop to e7 does block. Let me see how I can create more threats here. I guess rook to f5. We still have a rook on the 5th rank covering any double square pawn moves, but we also double our rooks and look at f7. So I'll play rook to f5. Okay, bishop to h4 is check, right? Get check to the king, and I should probably just shuffle out of the way. I could move my king forward, but I don't feel like it's in my favor quite yet to try to use my king as an attacking piece when I need both of these rooks on the attack, and I can't really spare one to defend my king. So I'll keep my king on the back rank for now. Nice, g6 is the kind of move we're looking for. Now I can just take on f7. Queen to f6. Wow, this is actually a crazy move because I have no choice, really, but to take the queen, right? Not even an intermediate check. So I have no choice but to take the queen, but I lose one of my rooks in the process, assuming he recaptures, which I imagine he will. Okay, maybe we overextended with this rook capture, but we'll take on f6. Martin recaptures, and I'll shuffle my rook over to h1, make that blunder nice and easy for him. Okay, he doesn't accept it, so I'll try it again. Rook to g1. Nice, we get it this time. We'll pick up the bishop. The knight moves to e4, walks right into a fork, the king and the knight on the same file. So check, give me the knight, and now we just need to hang tight for a little bit. Give me the knight, and now we hang tight. Dr. Seuss. Okay, b6, And this rook is kind of well placed in the center, but I'm not really seeing what blunders it's anticipating quite yet. I'm assuming this is for bishop to b7, but bold to assume that Martin has particularly logical plans of that sort. So I'll play my rook to e5. It does walk into knight to c6, but it's one of the few moves, right? d5 is a blunder, g5 is a blunder. So b5 is also a blunder, drops the pawn on c5. So I'll play my rook to e5. h5 is not a blunder. So I'll move my rook to g5 and try to catch this pawn. Oh, wow. Martin actually defends it with king to g7. Okay, I think it's time to start using more pieces. So I'll bring my king. I'll bring my king over to the queen side. It might make more sense against a human player, at least, to bring it to the king side because he's shown clear signs of making advancements on the king side. But Martin is more about RNG than he is about really logical moves. So there's 3, maybe 4, depending on how you look at it, pawns on the queen side that could be pushed to promote. There's 1 on the king side. So I find it much less likely that Martin will push this pawn, and much more likely that these will all accidentally stumble forward in some awkward pattern and end up promoting. So I'll play my king to c2. Okay, king to f7 is actually extremely solid, and I'll play king to b2. Wow, Martin develops knight to c6. Okay, blunder on the board, blunder on the board. I'm not totally confident that my rook is doing everything it could. Maybe rook to d5 would help, right? Bishop b7 drops d7. So I'll play that. Wow, knight to d4. Knight takes an outpost protected by the pawn that's protected by another pawn. That's pretty hard to target. I could play rook to d6. Rook to b8 defends it quite easily. b5 defends it easily. Can't even take the pawn behind it. There's 2 pieces defending it. Okay, I guess I don't really have a better option though. So I'll play rook to d6. Pawn to c4, excellent. We'll pick up that knight. Rook to b8, we'll pick up the other pawn. Rook to h6, I can feel that we're closing in on him just a little bit. We're not there yet, but we're getting close. Okay, I think rook to c7 could be a good way to go about this. Right, if the bishop tries to move, he drops the pawn, and it doesn't leave too many other moves on the table for him, besides, well, a lot of pawn pushes. So I'll play rook to c7. Okay, the king shuffles over, and there's very few pieces left on the board for Martin, so I'll go ahead and activate my king now. Okay, b5. I'll move my rook to a7. I can see 2 different pawns from here. Oh, but I guess bishop b7 would have trapped my rook, which would have been horrendous. Okay, never mind. We're moving the rook back to c7. g5, we have to target those pawns right away before they get too far away. Rook b6 is really interesting. If he does get rook to c6 and just accidentally pins my rook, it's pretty much game over. So I'll take on g5. Okay, the king comes to h7, and I'll move my rook back to d5. b4 check. I'll put my king in front of the pawns. Obviously, I can't let him get too far away, or else he might actually realize that he knows what promotion is and stick it to me. So I'll play king to b3. Rook to c6 drops a pawn, which I pick up. Rook to h6 obviously blocks the check. And where's my rook best placed now? I'm quite tempted to play like rook to e5 and see if I can get like check and then pick up the bishop. So I'll play rook to e5. Rook to h3 is check. Okay. King to a4, and then maybe I can set up stalemate somehow. Just check and then drop the rook. Doesn't work quite yet. But I will push my king forward. No, maybe I should move my king backwards. I mean, if my idea is to try to get stalemate, king to a4 obviously makes sense. But I want to win. I'm trying to remember. The name of this channel is I Want Checkmate, not I Want Draw because I'm scared of the challenge. Okay, so I want checkmate. I'm going to move my king back, hold off the pawn. Stop the pawns from moving forward. Rook to d8, or rather d6. I give check. Check. Give me your bishop. Your bishop is mine. Okay, we're running into some minor issues now. There's check and then check, which is ladder's mate, which I cannot allow. So rook to c2. Okay, he doubles the rooks on the 6th rank with questionable motives because it completely loosens the pressure that he had on my king. So I'll push my king up to b3 and target this pawn. Yes! Rook to h2 is a free rook. Gimme, gimme, gimme. a5 is actually super solid. Connects the passed pawns, and I'll just put my king on a4 now, targeting a5. Rook to g1 doesn't defend it at all. So I'll pick up a5. And this pawn is not getting away from us because I can pick up b4. Okay, rook to c1. What are the odds if I give check, I can pick up this pawn? Pretty high, I'd assume. So I'll play check. Nice, I pick up the pawn. And it's even better because now his king is completely cut off. So I'll make a waiting move. But what I'm really waiting to do, nice, is to get a check or just get his rook off the c-file so I can walk my king all the way over to his king and see if I can get checkmate. So I'll play king to c5 now. Rook to b3 is acceptable. We'll move our king closer. Okay, and then king to g6 sets up that checkmate. He does give check, which stops it. So I'll move my king back. And that's all we needed. Rook to f4, gimme. The king is completely stuck, and this is just a regular rook and king mate. King to d6. We court him all the way into the corner of the board and deliver checkmate. All right, it only took us 2 rooks to defeat the Martin bot. Let me know what you guys think of the video down below. If you did enjoy the video, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next one.